Hey, Den families, Den Mother Amanda got back live again. Gonna have my friend Angelina is gonna join us again for another live, so hopefully she'll be here shortly. I just sent her the link, so hopefully she'll be here a second. I turned the air conditioner off. It was getting a little loud, but yeah, I'm waiting to. Yeah, we're gonna get into some stuff that's happens to transgender, transsexual people. Um, it's not so good, and some stuff that's happened again this year at Pride Parade, and it's just not good. So yeah, Angelina, she's a really good friend of mine, and she's also trans. So yeah, as soon as she gets on, we're gonna get started. Hopefully soon. So let me send her a message here real quick and see how she's doing here. And I hope everyone had a very good Fourth of July and enjoyed the festivities. Yeah, I did. I know I did. Spent time with family, watched fireworks, and all that. So yeah. So yeah, she said she'd be in a minute, but yeah, good to be talking about transgender slash transsexual discrimination and once again at Pride Parade in San Francisco, at least in San Francisco. There's more nudity in the parade with children present at the parade, and yeah, and we're gonna discuss some of that. So yeah. Anyway, it's just like yeah. Some of it's just disheartening. So hopefully we'll add in some good stuff in this too, in this live stream too. And so I know Angelina and I like to have fun together, and sometimes we pick on each other. We're just having fun, you know. And uh, yeah, and she's a sweetheart. She really is. So don't know. Let's see. Where are you, honey? Where are you, sweetie? I'm waiting. Da, 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 da. Let's see if I can pause this here for a minute. I don't know. I don't know. Not, it doesn't look like there's a pause for the live feed. I was hoping I'd be able to find a pause for a live feed. There's still some stuff and features I'm learning how to use, and I don't know how to use a lot of them, if any of them. Except for maybe the invite friends and guests to the live feed and set it up. So yeah, it's still a learning process with using StreamYard and the features that are here with it. So I don't know. Let's see if we can do some stuff here. New layout. Nope. We're not going to do the new layout thing. No. Don't. Yeah, here she is. There she is. She finally made it. There's Angelina. Hi, Angelina. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, I had technical problems as usual.
Ah, that sucks.
It
Um,
wouldn't. I was able to join, but without a micro video, and that would be no fun.
oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, the title of this live feed, and I was just discussing what we're gonna be talking about on the live feed.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, we're doing a transgender slash transsexual discrimination and pride parade nudity again.
And
Our
at some
thoughts.
point, I'm going to add in what had recently happened to me.
Yeah, and I guess that's what we'll probably start with the trans discrimination. And it comes out in a bunch of different forms and different ways and stuff
Yes,
like
it
that.
does.
So, and sometimes it gets specific. And well, I'll let Angelina explain her story, and then we'll take it from there. So go ahead, Angelina.
So recently, I was invited to go to a friend's church. I'm not going to mention the church's name, um, out of respect for my friends who do actually go there. So, but I was discriminated against. I feel that this has been an ongoing problem for a long time now, and the issue still needs to be addressed. So I had attended church last Sunday at this church, and I had to use the bathroom. I have full documents stating that I am transgender and I am a female. Regardless, the one of the church members stated to me that I was a male. I'm not allowed to use the female's bathroom, which I had used. And by law, they can't do that here in New York State. And I believe there's some other states too that it's mandated that we're allowed to use whatever sex bathroom that we desire to use that best matches us. So what was said was, you're a man, you're not allowed to use the women's bathroom. I argued with him for a minute over it, and then I just left and beat. So afterwards, another church member came up to me and stated that she was offended by what this guy had said. And I told her that I don't think I'm going to be using this church anymore, especially if this is happening to people that are just visiting the church. And I was invited to be there. So for them to even say anything like that was rude and obnoxious. And it was very hurtful. And it put me in a deep, stressful, anxiety, depression situation where I had broke down and cried in the shower. and I almost had to call emergency services for help,
Yeah,
unfortunately. And it led up to other things happening in the day that I just couldn't be around others, unfortunately. And I'm still having issues with that going on. And it's so, now it hasn't been the only thing that has happened to me within the last couple of months. People on the street that don't even know me around where I live are even calling me a dude, a guy, you're a man, not a female. And it's just common sense that if you're wearing a dress and your name and gender has been changed, that you're a female or a male, depending on your sex preference that you want to be. I am legally a female now. Um, the church I attended to, I don't want to use the word demand, but asked me to provide documentation stating that I was equipped with the right parts. That is none of their business whatsoever what we are equipped with.
yeah, that's a little kind of not. That's not right. That's kind of disgusting.
That's very discriminating. That's none of anybody's business. And around where I am, and Amanda is, it is a HIPAA violation. Um, and I
Well,
would go ahead.
that that came from the pastor and his wife, right?
Yes, yes. Amanda and I have talked about this before we came on the live stream a little bit. And that's how she knows a little bit about what's going on.
But yeah, it seems like that's some of stuff like that is still happening in a lot of different places to a lot of different people, and
But I do have to agree, it's not as bad as it used to be.
right, it's not. There's things. It's getting better, um, and I think there's on no matter where it's something like that seems to be coming from. There's um, how do I want to say it? Deep emotions and beliefs on trans people using public restrooms or whatever, what have you, in certain places. And I think a lot of that comes from just regular men not doing a thing to transition at all, unlike you and I have done with stuff to physically transition and fit in. Claiming they're trans and using the restroom, the women's restroom.
So
Well, that,
now that you mentioned that, not to cut you off, we had somebody here that used to live in this building where I live, that claims that they're transgender, previously went to that same church, and I'm not sure exactly what had happened, but something happened between a child and this person, and I'm not sure if the child was inappropriately touched or something was shown to the child. But that's part of the problem that has been happening.
yeah, just something to happen, even if it's just the man came in and the child got scared because there was a man in there that claiming to not be a man, to be trans. And I've
And,
seen
and
stuff.
that looks bad on all of us. It really
Yeah,
does.
Yeah, and I've seen
We're
that
not
happen.
all out there to be doing that stuff, and that's what I explained to the pastor's wife, and she understood. But of course, she's going to back up her husband
Right,
in a
right,
situation like this.
right.
I'm
There's
not saying
always,
anything negative about that. It's not my place to do that.
yeah,
But
right,
at
right,
the same time, it's wrong.
right. Yeah, and um, yeah, because those of us who are really transgendered and or transsexual, that's all we want to do is just fit in, and we do what we got. We try to do all that we can do to fit in as the opposite gender slash
Right,
sex, if you want to call it. So we do fit in, and all we want to do is just like go ahead and use those places, do what we got to do, and then come back out, and then just go on with our daily routine, whatever that routine is for that day.
right,
Uh, and But yeah, it does make it look bad for all of us when that happens. You know, yeah, sometimes it takes some effort for us to fit in better. Even though we started transitioning, we've been transitioning for a while, and yeah, on both sides, it's really a touchy situation because there's a lot of emotion on both sides, and there is, and some of it is actually discrimination.
yeah,
But I think sometimes it comes from that part of it comes from uh, fear. Fear from those those who aren't trans and just aren't sure sometimes, because sometimes there are just men that aren't doing a thing to fit in that can kind of almost look close to maybe the opposite gender. I know, and still do this wild, crazy, insane crap like going
yep.
into
My old
the
room, my neighbor here in the shelter that I'm in did that same exact thing.
Yep,
It
and
made us all feel unsafe, and we wound up getting him legally kicked out.
good, good, good. Yeah, it's like I remember seeing one time on YouTube. So you posted. I forget who it was that did the live feed. It had found a video of a man going into the women's room doing nothing to fit in as female, standing in the in the stall,
Bathroom.
stalls, toilets, standing in the toilet stalls with the door open, urinating, with women and children present, doing nothing. Nothing to present female, nothing to do, doing nothing to act like a female or anything like that. And people have seen that stuff, and that's disgusting, and that's wrong.
I have a feeling that's why we have stall doors in the
Yeah,
bathrooms.
this guy just did that intentionally. This guy, and you could tell he was doing it intentional.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's just plain wrong.
yeah, and then
Guys,
uh,
if you're going to use the toilets like that, please use the men's room.
yeah, yeah, and then there was this other one that I saw with a man cross dressing in a dress with an erection, a noticeable erection under the dress. And I was like, "What? You're sick
Yeah,
and disgusting." People like that, and I just that could be both of those could be considered indecent exposure, and it's just not right because it puts
yeah.
women and girls in fear.
And
See,
that whole thing that And that whole thing that happened with me with the church was totally could have been solved totally differently.
Yeah, yeah,
There
because
was a
that's
right way and the wrong way to handle that, and the way that this guy handled this was completely wrong. If he had
yeah,
a problem with me going into that bathroom, then he should have went up to one of the higher ups in the church and had said something, and then one of the higher ups would have pulled me off to the side and talked to me about it, or
yeah.
at least said it to me in a
In a
kind
different,
manner.
yeah, he could have
Because
said it.
after all, he is a
Yeah,
member of that church and he represents that church.
yeah, it could have been like, hey, I'm not sure if I want you going into the women's restroom.
You're right. There's a right way or and the wrong way to handle things. And
Yeah,
later on that week, that same church does handle community meals that, and I attend during the week. For me, it's on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but they have it throughout the week. I'm not sure what days and where, but
yeah,
that's not the point. The point being is those church members had come up to me personally, every single one of them, and they stated, "In Angelina, I am so sorry that happened to you. We're not a church that usually does that to people. I don't know what had happened." And I explained, I gave the description to them on who it was because I didn't know the guy's name. I do now, and I'm not going to say the gentleman's name. That's what he is. And they said that that guy has been in trouble for doing stuff like this before. We'll make sure we address the issue.
yeah. That's cool. If they're going to address the issue.
And then the pastor and the wife came back on Facebook Messenger after the pastor himself came back on Facebook after I messaged them on Facebook and stated that until you have the right equipment, we cannot allow you in the bathroom, and you got to show us documentation, which is completely wrong. And then the pastor's wife on this past Tuesday, when I did join that community meal, stated the same thing, pretty much, after she pulled me privately into a back room.
Yeah, it sounds like you might. I would talk to a lawyer to be sure, because I'm not a lawyer. Anyway, it sounds like you might have a case for discrimination against the church. At least
Oh,
with the.
I definitely do, and I'm thinking about doing something about it. But to take on a church is beyond my belief system. But I have to serve justice if I have to against really anybody. You know, whether it's a church or just a person on the street. It's been happening so long in my life now. I just don't go and do anything about it. But if you don't do anything about it, then nothing's going to get changed.
Right,
And that's
right.
where I stand on that.
And sometimes we have to start where we can start, because it's like with those three people at the church. That's probably a start, because you know who they are. And it's kind of hard to do something with somebody that's just going by on the street to say they're driving or whatever. You don't necessarily know who they are.
Yep.
That's kind of hard to do. So it's like, yeah, sometimes in those scenarios, it's hard to have thick skin, and with something like that, it can be difficult. Me, and I just somebody's gonna misgender me, and like, yeah, oh well, what affects them doesn't have to affect me, but that's me. Um,
And unfortunately for me, that's a discrimination act, and it does affect me
Uh,
very badly.
right, right, yeah,
But everybody's different.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And for me, I try to remember it's like, okay, most of my life I lived as a male, and so to somebody saying, "Well, he, him, whatever about me," it's like, okay, well, there is some plausible truth to it, because I'm still biologically a male. It's just I'm presenting female, and I would hope that everyone would see me as that, but it's not everybody's going to. When it comes to the misgendering thing, so it's like, okay, whatever, you just say what you want, feel what you want, I don't have to let that bother me, what I'm saying? It's just, okay, it's just at that stage of the game, if it's not outright just coming at me with other stuff, it's just words, it's like, okay, whatever, you're not, well, the person isn't important to me, so, um, those who are usually are usually good about it. Maybe there's a misstep once in a while. And that's okay. That's to be expected.
I can agree with somebody misgendering you by mistake, and then apologizing for it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oops. Yeah. So it's like,
That I do understand, especially if there's somebody new around you that doesn't understand what's going on. That
yeah,
stuff I do slide. But when it's people that do see you every single day, like another person that lives here in the shelter with me and knows that I am transgender and repeatedly uses male pronouns against me on purpose. Now we got a problem.
hmm
I almost took her to court one time, and I
uh,
should have.
yeah. And that's sad.
But it would have made my living here very, very, very rough.
Yeah, and that's what it's just people are being assholes and stuff like that. And it's like, whatever. It's like, okay. For me, yeah, and I get it. It can be, it's upsetting, and some of us it's upsetting for some of us more than it is for others. And that's and totally understandable. But yeah, like I say, for me, it's like, okay, how important is this person to me? You know,
Right.
and
And I
and
get what you're saying.
and if you're in a sheltered housing, maybe you could talk to the management and say, "Hey, this person's giving me a problem misgendering me. And it's just getting ridiculous. It's very uncomfortable, and I don't like it."
Right.
Yeah,
And I have gone to the higher ups before, but
doesn't seem like anything.
maybe it's time to do that again.
Yeah, yeah,
She hasn't misgendered me since last time, but I've had other problems with her recording just recently.
right. Different parts of your life, other than it's not like
Yeah, that's not related to this topic.
not related around trans issues. Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah. And some people just act like assholes and bitches. Just act like assholes and bitches. It's like, yeah, I'm like, okay, whatever. Just grow up. And I still think sometimes the hard part, it took me a while to get to the point where it's just not worth me getting upset over. It's not worth my heartache and all of that to get upset over. I've got better
And that's
things.
what I like about you. You've got more wisdom than I do, more experience. I don't have that much, so it's a little bit more difficult for me.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, okay, what? It's I look at it. It's like, okay, what? how can I look at this? And and is it, when it comes to my serenity and happiness, how important is it to me to actually give it any credence? Give it any validation. Give that any that way in that respect any kind of validation, and just go on with my life the best that I can.
Right.
Um, and yeah, it stinks. I'm not gonna lie, it still stinks. Yeah, and I ponder on it for a little bit. I'm like, yeah, and then it's just okay. Amanda, just stop. It's not worth your time to get all worked up over freaking idiots that are being freaking brain rot rectal tards. You know, and to know if they're gonna get like if they're gonna start like get like violent or try to get violent or anything, then that's stuff for sure for me. That's definitely a different story because that's not
Right.
acceptable. Then something that for me something needs to be done. You know,
And for the most part, all the women here in the shelter where I live, they all know I'm a transgender female. And I have said this in the past on your streams before. They all know I am a transgender female, and no one has a problem with me.
but yeah, and that's
But you always have maybe one or two people that come through and have a problem.
yeah, and for
And
that's
that's just not in the shelters either. That's just in life, period. And I'm trying to learn to deal with those emotions personally and
yeah,
mentally.
just like hey, they're idiots. They're not important to me. I don't have to let what they say. Try to do my best to not let and say that takes time. It takes a little bit of time to be able to get to that
Right.
position. I'm not gonna lie about it. It takes some time. And it's like okay, how important is this person? If they're not, then
Right.
you aren't worth my time of giving an extra thought to. And, because there's gonna be assholes and idiots and things like that. That I'm gonna run into from time to time. It's just the way it is when it comes to something like that. But something that seems like it's all like what happened at that church, it like it sounds like it is just discrimination. If something
And
has to be
I
done.
and I have mixed feelings about going after church. By the way,
Oh yeah, no, I totally get
I
it.
feel that's the wrong thing to do, but at the same thing, justice has to be served at the same time. As of right now, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I feel like I need to get a lawyer involved and at least ask for their opinion. That
Yeah, and
that that
maybe just have it is going at after that particular doing something with that particular person in the church,
right.
uh, um, and then maybe
But because I was directly attacked by the pastor and the pastor's wife as well, I think I should.
that's what
Well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm probably going to go after them as well.
I was just saying maybe it's talk with the lawyer about what happened with them and go from there because it sounds like that might be possible too. That could probably be very well be possible as well.
Seeing that I don't have anybody's last names, it probably would be easier to go after the church itself because because the church itself is being very discriminating against the LGBT community in general, but at the same time they're saying that we're allowed to be there. And I feel it like they're trying to draw us all in to attack us
right, yeah. And so
based on I understand that was the only experience in that church that I had, but that was the feeling that I had gotten out of it at the time. And I still feel that way.
so you gotta
But
think it might.
that doesn't make all the members guilty of that crime. I'll put it that way. They all didn't. Not all of them discriminated me. We had over 100 people in that church that day, give or take, from what I've seen. And that's coming and going.
Right.
So,
yeah, and it's just you might be able to look up on that specific church, Google that specific church, and find out the pastor's and his wife's full names that way. Through a Google search of that particular specific church, because usually when it kind of pops up, it usually pops up, and you can still open the website up or whatever, and find out what the pastor's first and last name, and if they got any spouse, what their names are as well.
right.
And include them in on it that way. The other person, I don't know, you just name the person's first name, and the pastor and his wife should be able to know this other person's last name as well. Um, and go from there. Just see what happens, see what a lawyer has to say. I don't know what would happen. The ramifications or the consequences for them would be them or the church would be. But yeah, they keep it.
Point being is it's not so much about winning money and doing this and that, although that would be nice, but that's not why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I would do it because it's the right thing to do. We're all people.
Yeah. So maybe hopefully it does into somebody
else. The world is starting to change to get better with us and work with us now.
Yeah.
I see it all around. I see it all around us. So
over the years, it's gotten there's a lot of progress that's been made, and
I mean, our city is starting to become more and more LGBT friendly, and it has over the last few years.
Yeah,
and I am very impressed with our city officials.
Yeah, it seems
that they are supporting such a thing.
Yeah. And it's like you had pride events for the last 20 years during the month of June, and I don't know if there might have been the flag raising ceremony, the LGBT plus flag ceremony might have been.
We did have one.
It's just long. We've had one this past year. It might have been going as long as we've had the pride events for June. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
We have.
So that's been going on for 20 years also. The flag.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's I kind of thought so, but
it was about 15, 20 years. Yeah, from what I remember the governor stating.
Oh, the mayor?
Yes, thank you, the mayor.
You're welcome. So, yeah, anyway, that sucks. That does suck. So, so there's something else I wanted to talk about. If you want to talk about it a little bit too, maybe, because it's kind of seen it from people that are in the LGBT plus community during Pride parades. And it seems to have happened again this year. It's specifically one different place that I've heard about so far, and probably others, that people in the LGBT plus community are going in these parades naked with no clothes, and there's young children witnessing.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. It does happen though.
Yeah, and it's just disgusting. There's indecent exposure laws, and that's when it comes to that's
I'm not sure
to be naked in public, and then it's even more of a crime when children are witnessing that.
And I'm not sure what's going on, but for the last couple of years, in fact, I don't ever recall a pride parade being in our hometown.
I don't either. I don't remember seeing it in our hometown either. Maybe one day we'll have one here in this town. But it's like when that stuff happens, they know there's going to be kids around there. It's just it's kind of hard not to think of them as predators and child predators and pedophiles.
Right.
You know,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
we have parades for everything else. Why not this? You know,
Yeah, and I think maybe one day it'll. I think maybe one day
I
it'll happen.
understand it takes a lot of work and effort with everybody, the city officials, the people putting it on, the workers that are actually performing. Um,
And the parade route, the
yeah,
route that you go through. Yeah, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of detail in it, and what streets are going
but
to be closed
the
off
people
for
in
it.
the public, like you and I, don't realize how much work that actually gets put into this. There's like weeks and months of planning for one day like that, for
Yeah,
about 20 to 30 minutes worth of entertainment.
yeah, and it's like and the extra workers and security that needs to happen. You know, because a lot of times when
Yep.
they're closing off streets, they're police auxiliary also that help at the streets where the streets are being blocked off, and and county security and stuff like that. You know that are
There's
going
a
to be
lot of work behind the scenes that us public
yeah
members do not know about.
yeah you know and then just having people walking around undressed in parades like that. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
arrest them, lock them up.
that and
That's fine.
that's
And that's
showing disrespect towards everybody when they're doing that.
yeah, and it's not good for the LGBT plus community at all. Any of us in the entire community, you know. Because for us that really are, you know, I'm not saying the people that do this aren't, you know, but it's like for us that just want to have great, have fun, and just doing it and have some, and others have fun while watching the parade. You know, it's sickening. You
Yep.
know, it really is. It's sickening. You know, it's like almost makes my stomach start to turn. You know, and it's to think that there's kids, the children, minor children, who are witnessing this, and it's like, oh my god, it's just oh, it's just horrible, you know, because children shouldn't have to be witnessing that. You know, there's no reason for children to witness something like that. You know, because we know sometimes how children are at home. You know, accidentally one parents are doing whatever, or if it's a couple doing whatever in the bedroom. Sometimes a child will come in and like, oh wait a minute, shouldn't have saw that. You know, that accidents like that. You know, okay, that was an accident. That wasn't didn't
Right.
nobody was doing something to make that happen. You know, it's just a situation, unfortunate situation to have. But that way, the stuff when they're doing that parades and stuff like that, that's intentional. You know, that is wrong. It just makes it look bad for us, and I always call that crap out. You know, it's just no,
Right.
it's just no. You know, so San Francisco probably isn't the only city that does that. Um, So, you want to start wrapping it up? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That's why I was texting you instead of saying it on here. Um, we've been on here a little while, but what else should we talk about?
Um, I don't know. It's just that was stuff that I want. That what you wanted to bring up and that, and I kind of wanted to bring it up too. You know, talk about it because the discrimination does happen, and that just call out the stuff and then that stuff about that happens in certain pride parades. It seems like it happens in the larger cities.
It does.
It's
And
got to
that
be.
might be one of the reasons why we don't have it yet in our town. But we'll see.
It could be, it's just like, no, it needs to be called out. These people need to be arrested and thrown in jail. Because that's not right. And there were trans people doing it as well. And it's like, no,
Oh yeah.
it doesn't look good for us at all.
Yep.
that ain't good for any of us in the LGBT plus community because it's that no, so come on, there's a certain standard of have some dignity and self respect for
Yeah,
yourself.
I totally agree with that.
And it's
We
like,
are our own type of people,
yeah,
and,
yeah,
but if you, my best advice in a situation like that, if you're going to run naked and run through places, try and do it in a more
and
private place or in your own home where there's no kids running around.
yeah, yeah. There's
I
nudist.
can't tell you. We can't tell you not to do that around your own family members, but try and keep that out of away from the public as much as possible because not everybody likes that kind of thing, and it will shut down events like this that do support us.
Yeah, and
These
it's
parades and the Pride Palooza and the month of June that we have in our city is to celebrate us.
yeah,
It's to lift us up. And
sure,
when people do wrong and hateful stuff, those are the kinds of things that are going to shut us down. So if you want these
it's,
things to keep going on,
and,
year
yeah,
after year after year, you got to be respectful towards it. And without the city,
yeah,
it,
because of
it can't happen.
yeah, because Pride, the Pride parade was hey, it was originally meant to be hey, we're not bad people, we're really not like this. What's happening now? It's starting to happen now. These Pride parades are
And it
really,
looks bad on us too.
yeah, and it makes it look like all of us are like that when we're not. It's just I'm glad there are a lot of people that know that all of us are not like that, but still, it's still not right, and it needs to stop. And the only
Right.
way that I think of it for it to stop is for the authorities to press charges because, like I said, that is a crime. You know,
It
um,
is.
and especially it's even a worse of a crime because it could
I
be
mean, it's one thing if it's all adults, if it was just an adult world, who would
that's
care?
one thing.
But we
That's
do have younger kids that we have to respect.
Yeah. If it was a nudist camp, okay, fine, great, a nudist camp. Children don't go to those. But
Right.
that's public. That's a
But
public
but
event.
you're in a public area in your city,
It's called indecent
walking,
exposure.
going down the main roads, just try and show a little respect. That's all.
And that's a crime. Indecent exposure in public is a crime,
Yep.
and indecent exposure in front of a children is a crime, classified under pedophilia. And I believe that's what it's classified under when children are involved with having to witness that. And we need to have the authorities, be accountable to hold them responsible for what they're doing, the wrong things that they're doing. And we need to keep calling that out. And when we see stuff like that, because it's not right. It's not right for us in the community that are part of the LGBT plus that are trying to live a decent life, and it's not right for children to have be part of that. Because it's traumatizing. I guess I saw on one of the things earlier today that they interviewed a parent with their 9-year-old daughter, and oh my god, it's just I forget the exact words she said. It says something like it made me sick to my stomach, something like that. It's like yeah, no, the 9 year children, young children don't want to be seeing that. And it's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's that's heartbreaking when you see a young child like that say something about witnessing things like that. It really is heartbreaking. Because you can't unsee that. It's just that young child is not going to be able to unsee that. That's sad. She's seen things that she doesn't need to see at this stage of her life.
Correct.
And I hope she's going to be okay, emotionally. So yeah, so we just wanted, Angelina and I wanted to get some stuff out when it comes to that, these two topics, and I'll probably be doing more of it, more stuff like that on my channel as time goes by on these topics as well. I've done other topics, I've done multiples on other topics as well. So
And
exactly.
hopefully, I'll be putting out some more content soon on my channel. Because of my mental state for the last few months, I haven't been able to put out content. Apologize about that, but it is what it is. And
Yeah.
when that does happen, I'll let everybody know. I'll let Amanda know so she can say something too as well, because she's on here a lot more than I am right at the moment. My next my next stream is probably going to be something on my first visit to the CPEP and what I thought about that and all that. There is a lot of content out there about that anyway.
Yeah.
I don't personally feel it's too private for something like that, but
Yeah.
I want to
Also,
put out something about how it was for a transgender woman like myself to be in CPEP for the first time ever in their life, and we'll see we'll go from there.
yeah, and it's also good for people to realize some of the things that we do go through like that. When the depression and stuff gets really really bad for us. That sometimes that happens. We seek that extra help. And that's a good thing. Taking care of our mental and emotional health. We
People look at CPEP as a bad thing, but it
it's not.
really isn't.
It's not. They've
Um,
done a lot of work to help save people's lives when it comes to depression, anxiety, and severe and chronic anxiety and depression.
right,
They work. They've saved a lot of people. Maybe not everybody, but I'll tell you what, they've done a lot of good work. There's a lot of people that
right, and I
can't.
have to say that all the hospitals run CPEP, all all one way. They all run them different ways, and what you hear from one person is probably not true for your area.
Yeah,
So,
not all hospitals
and,
have an emotional crisis unit within the hospital. But even if they don't, I don't want to suggest to people that are going to watch us and come to this party. Even if they don't, go there anyway, because they'll be able to find resources to lead to direct you to be able to help you. If you're in that emotional crisis moment, to be able to help you so you can get better. So
right,
wow, just do it, because that's it. It's a good thing. If you're taking care of your health, talk about it. That's the best thing you can do. Is talk to somebody.
right.
That
And I
always.
think that's what had helped me when I went in there. It helped. It was a familiar place that I've used that emergency room before in the past for other things. I knew all the security guards because of that. I knew the intake person. I knew the nurses and stuff. And I've been in that hospital before, plain and simple. And I was
Yeah,
comfortable with my surroundings. And I think that's what helped me settle down. I was in a locked, secured, safe building. I knew no one was going to hurt me. They brought me into CPEP, and I was only there for a few hours. It wasn't very long, and Amanda even brought me
yeah,
over there.
yeah. When we
So
get to
anyway,
this,
that's going to be a different day, folks. Maybe I'll bring Amanda on when that time comes, and we'll go from there. And I promise I'm going to try and get some content out about that,
yeah,
and maybe I'll do a live stream on what had happened to me with the church. So it's on my channel as well, and we'll go from there. I
Yeah,
hope you all have a great day and good evening.
you too. It's like everybody out there, if you made it this far, it's like just remember, even when there's something that I don't like coming from people, just please, and sometimes I get rough about how I say things when certain things are coming out from people that are just wrong. That I can get a little stringent about it, but with the hopes that somebody will change. But anyway, I want
Right.
people to remember you're all important. You have worth and you have value. And if nobody told you they love you today, I love you. And you all have a
And
great
so
day.
do I. I love you too.
And have a great day, no matter what part of that day you're in, because I don't know where you're coming in from. So
And one last thing, excuse me. Remember, there is help out there. There's a list of emergency contacts out there. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, the national emergency line is 988. Okay, and if you can't contact that, call 911 because your mental health is very important, and they will come out and make sure you're okay.
and there's a mental health one, isn't that 699 or something or 966?
Um,
The mental health hotline, the 3-digit mental health hotline.
that's the 988 one.
88. Okay, yeah, that mental health one for somebody to talk to if you're in a crisis mode is 988. If you need it, please dial it. There are people that are willing to talk to you and help you the best that they can and direct you to find helpful, maybe find ways of finding resources where extra resources where you're at.
Yep.
Or
And there's one other number that you can call too that I know of. There's a whole list of numbers that I have, but they're not exactly in front of me. But the one I do remember is another one, which is 741-741. That's another emergency lifeline that you
yeah,
can use as well.
and that's 741.
Yep, that's 741-741.
Oh,
You gotta punch it in. You
741.
gotta punch that one in twice.
Okay, 741.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So please dial whatever number you need to. If it's too long, you want to do the shorter one, do 988. Or if you want to do the 741, do that one also. Whatever one you want to do.
And if you think your life is in extreme jeopardy,
Yeah,
where you
call
call
911.
911. We can't stress that enough. Please
Yeah,
call for help.
yeah, yeah. So, and just remember, there are people out there that care about you. And I remember a time when I didn't think anybody loved me at all or cared about me at all, even my family. And that was wrong. Then people do care about me. People care about you. And you. But yeah, there are people that care. And so yeah, do what you need to do. So anyway, y'all have a great day and
Bye,
I'll be
all. Love you.
bye bye.